Okay, so I sent you a bunch of links, but you haven't read them yet, or you have read them?
I didn't know you sent them.
Okay, so you're playing catch up because we're gonna have our test on Friday for chapter 1. So I sent you basically, I record everything in the class, and all the classes are up as video files on the calendar. They don't include everything because number one, I forgot to record this one in 2014 and 15 and 16. So this is the 2013 class intro, which may not totally agree with everything I have posted, okay? But it kind of is close enough, okay? That's actually really long. I haven't watched it, so I'm not even sure what all was on that intro, but it's supposed to be the intro class stuff. Most of them are not full classes. And I record the whole class and post it. Obviously, you guys can fast forward through those if you're like, okay, with it just sitting there doing nothing. Because sometimes I forget to hit pause. In fact, I think I'm recording right now. I'm pretty sure I am. Okay, but I have the ability to pause. But there's an issue, just so you guys know, why I don't pause anymore. Or not very often. A lot of times if I pause, when I restart, there's no sound. So for some reason it doesn't kick the recording back in. So I'd rather have a dead spot in the middle where you guys have to fast forward through recording than to have the last half of the recording have no sound. Because then you're just watching things happen on the screen and they're not as good, I guess is the best way to say it. So I need you to go through that. I also need you to go through all the activities in the course introduction. One of the things that you'll see that we're doing in this class is we're using the new gamification that comes in Moodle. Okay, so gamification of a classroom is that as you do activities, you get experience points and you level up. You guys are all monks in this classroom as far as levels. So because you stay cloistered in here, and then in tech class they're all rangers because they're out running around. But it's a way to keep track of whether you guys have done stuff too. So like I can go to the report and everybody in the class should be at least level 2, if not level 3. Like Ian's level 4 already, he's been clicking stuff. You get points every time you click on links and go to links in the class. Okay? Or do activities or whatever. So by the way, Sharon dropped the class. Why do you keep sliding over there? See, the chair's over here. I made a point of putting all the chairs where I want students sitting, and I said, first day of class, this table is mine. Slide back over here. Over there. This table's mine. My table. You can sit anywhere there's a blue chair. See, blue chair, blue chair, blue chair, blue chair, blue chair, blue chair, 4 blue chairs, okay? You made a point of moving all the chairs this time. Mr. Wellman is here. Let me redo the attendance real quick. Did you already check in late, Mr. Wellman?
Yeah.
I may not even need to. Do it. What's going on? Mary should be here. Doesn't. Okay, so basically I sent you a whole bunch of links and stuff that you need to go through that, watch the other videos, and then one of the things that we do every class at the beginning of class is you guys retake the self-assessment, which is your way of telling me what you've learned so far in this section. So that, and that's why I said every class you guys pull out your laptops and just have them out. Make sure you've signed in and retaken the self-assessment, because I use that when we do the review at the end of the chapter so that I can identify what everybody says they don't know yet. So if I show the analysis, and you know what, I don't even know if I'd have to pick the course anymore because it's a new Moodle. So everybody says right now that they can list the things that make a PC work. 2 people can't list the input and output devices. 1 person doesn't know the difference between hardware and software. You get the idea. They're all the I can statements of you guys telling me what you think you know so that I can kind of, when we do the review, make sure I hit the points that people say they don't. And if everybody doesn't know Mr. Clark just joined our class, and Miss Corwin switched to Chem 1 or something. So she's not in here anymore. Okay, so just so you know what we're going to do today, we're going to go run over to, because we were talking about BIOS and the steps of the boot process, and we're just going to go over to the elementary school lab. It should be open right now, I think, and go through and play with BIOS for a little bit and show you guys the BIOSes that are on most of the PCs that we have here. And then we're going to come back and you guys are going to write a article. So you can leave your laptops out here because we're going to use them when we come back. You're going to do your first little writing assignment. And then next class, we're going to go through the PowerPoint that comes with the textbook. And I don't know how much I said this last class or the first class or not. So this class is all designed around this textbook, A+ Guide to Hardware. Okay, A+ is a Microsoft certification. It's a hardware certification. Theoretically, if you knew everything in this book, you could go take the Microsoft course and get your A+ hardware certification. Okay, and I say theoretically because as you guys know, I already said we skip chapters 8 through 14 because I deem them unimportant for basic computer knowledge, which doesn't mean they wouldn't be on the test. Okay, so if you guys wanted to, if you decided I'm not going to go to college, I want to go become a computer tech, try to get a computer tech job. After you do this course, you could probably get a current A+, because that book's old, current A+ hardware review book, read through that, and then take your test, and possibly pass it without taking a real A+ hardware course. Okay, so I say that because usually at every chapter I go through their PowerPoint as well. There are slides that I still deleted and edited because they're old and they don't apply to current hardware. Just to make sure we kind of hit their terminology, the Microsoft terminology for the test and stuff. Some of the questions, like I said, I've cut out, but some of them I left in there because it's still testable material. So next class, we're going to basically go through that, their PowerPoint that I edited, and then we're also going to go and review anything that you guys said you don't understand yet for the test on Friday in Chapter 1. Okay? And then next class we'll start Chapter 2 next week. Some things that I added that I was just adding today, and I'm going to be interested to see how this works, because the new Moodle, when it uploads users, keeps setting today's date is the day you started the class. So I'm going to be interested to see if it lets you do old stuff or not. It's kind of weird. But you guys now have what I put up at the top to try to help me not forget stuff, is I put a link to the attendance that I make. You click on that, you're not going to be able to log in. But this one that says class attendance is basically you checking into the class to say you're here. Okay, so as I go through, I'll edit the names because the idea here is that I will know who was here for the class on this, the class on that. And it's not, it says it's graded, it's worth 1 point in the whole semester. Okay, so even if you got an F, it wouldn't change your grade. And honestly, I'm going to override the grade and give everybody 1 point because that's not the point. The point of it is not to give you a grade. The point of it is so that I know if somebody missed this section, I make a point of making sure that Nick watched the video. Just, Nick, did you watch the video in the class? Yeah, I understood it. Or I didn't get a chance to. Nick, watch the video in the class. Because the last thing I want you to do is get to the test on Friday and then you bomb the test because you never watched the video and you didn't catch up with that class. Okay, so it's really just to know which things you missed. So I don't know how it looks when you guys click on it because being able to take your own attendance is new. So it says on the left side daily attendance. And what does it let you do, Isaac? Oh, just submit attendance. So obviously don't do it for future days. I already did today. Okay, and you'll see that it only is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because there's no way for me to do the alternating block thing. So when you look at these, Monday is Tuesday and Wednesday is Thursday. Okay, so I'll move the dates and I'll delete Friday. So when you guys come and you guys check in, actually, did I take attendance for today or not? on there. Did I already? Today is the 29th. Okay, so just hit submit attendance on yours. I want to see what it says for you guys. And you just hit P for present and save changes. Okay. So one of us needs to make sure we take attendance every day. I put it on there so you guys can take your own attendance and check in on your own that you were there that day. Please don't say you were there from home, because it's not there to hurt you. It's there to make sure that you got the material. Enough said? Everybody understands that? Okay. So today's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so you're checking it on Monday, but if it was a Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday you check it on Monday, and Wednesday you check on Thursday, and I'll just delete Friday when we get there. Okay. Okay, in the hardware class, or the tech class, that actually is points and does count against you. Yeah.
So we were getting an error message when we went there. I restarted my browser, so I didn't go back.
Are you guys in Chrome or Firefox?
Chrome.
I'm in Firefox. No, I'm in Chrome.
Yeah, do it in Firefox. If you guys don't know, Firefox is, Moodle is made for Firefox. It participates with Chrome and IE, but it's not made for it. And that's because Chrome and IE both take license on the international standards for a browser. Okay, Firefox is the only one that adheres to the international browser standards that whoever is in charge of the standards set up. And Moodle is written for the international browser standards because Google goes and says, we don't like that, we're going to do it this way, and Internet Explorer does its own thing too. So probably you want to be in Firefox if you can. It doesn't mean it will crash all the time, but it could, yeah.
My computer's like turning on and shutting off.
And you're sure your battery's charged?
Yeah.
Is that a oh yeah or yeah?
I think it's charged.
Well, that's
I didn't really use it that much.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and take off and go to the other lab. Does anybody get questions on what we're doing today? Just start off with, okay. So, unfortunately, I don't have 20 billion types of BIOS like writing assignments. And one of the things that some of my writing assignments are full essays. Some of them are just short writing assignments. And this is a short writing assignment, okay? So this is where it says PC boot process right there. Basically, the assignment is to summarize the PC boot process. Says use citations as required, maybe a list or full text, which should fully explain the process. And you guys have a button that says edit submission. You have a spot to write in Moodle. So I want to kind of talk about using citations as required. I know that you guys have all had English classes. However, I think that's one of the weak points of students in general. Okay, there's absolutely no reason ever for anyone to get dinged for plagiarism, okay, ever. A lot of times students think they can't copy stuff from someone else, so they do it and act like they didn't. And a lot of times they think it's okay, but they don't know how to do it correctly, okay? My first master's paper, when I was doing my master's degree at Salvo Regina in Newport, Rhode Island, I will tell you that my degree, I didn't do a whole lot of writing. It was a computer science degree, I programmed. There wasn't a lot of text. I took freshman English and freshman English 1 and freshman English 2 and wrote a bajillion 3-page essays. But they were all essays. They were all writing to be writing kind of thing, my opinion on stuff. They weren't pulling from text, usually. There was not a lot of, in my college essay courses, read this textbook and summarize the idea of the author or something. And in my master's degree, that's all it was. Read this book, write a 10-page paper. Here's 5 different topics that you can choose from when you summarize this book. And every single one of my master's classes was 5 to 6 books, and every paper was 10 to 15 pages, and there were 12 classes. So I got about 800 pages worth of essay or papers that I had to write. And the very first one I wrote, the response from the professor was, I don't care what you think. I care what the authors think. Let me know more of what they think. Rewrite this paper. Okay? And it was, I had gone through school just like you guys do, thinking that the teachers all wanted to know me and what I had to say about stuff. And they do, in a way, But when you're writing something like this, where you're reading these other articles and summarizing somebody else's articles, sometimes it's impossible for me to look at this chapter and summarize this section without using his words somehow. Okay? And so when we use somebody else's words, there's two ways that we use somebody else's words in an article. Okay? And what are those two ways? Do you guys have any guesses? Okay. So when we use somebody else's words when we're writing, we would open up here. I almost think I need to reboot my PC because it's acting funny. We can do it directly or indirectly. Okay? Directly is I use his words, I'm looking right at the page, and I use from there to there. Okay? And when we use somebody's words directly, what do we have to do? You have to put quotes around it, okay? So if I'm using his words directly, I have to put quotes around it, and at the end of that, I should have the in-text citation, which in general is just the author's last name. Okay? So if you were quoting directly from me, all you'd have to do is write the word pool, because in your works cited, you probably only has one thing from pool. Okay? If you have two things from pool, then you would have to give a little bit more to say which one and possibly the page number if it's direct, right? If it's a direct citation, the author might be pool and it's from page 82. Okay, that's the only thing that's required to make the difference between plagiarism and non-plagiarism. And there is virtually no teacher that's going to go and say okay, I shouldn't say that. There are times when students quote too much. I've had a student put here's a PowerPoint slide, and it's like that, right? The entire thing is somebody else's words. And nobody wants the entire thing to be somebody else's words. Usually what we want is some stuff that you said, a little bit that they said because you used it, and then some other stuff, right? But what's an indirect citation?
Change the way they say it.
Yeah, all you did was change some words, or I'm directly looking at it. If I'm referring directly to this, as I type my words, it's still an indirect citation. Okay? Now, if I read this last week and I'm typing my own words, it's not, because they're my words, right? But if I'm looking directly at somebody else's words as I type my words, I am citing them, and I need to give them credit because they're not. This thought is not my original thought. If I'm having to read right there as I go through and type it, even if I change the words. The only difference is you don't have to do the little quotes, right? I still have to put that. So sometimes, like in a PowerPoint, you changed all the words, but you were looking right at that as you typed it. Then at the bottom of the thing, at the bottom corner of the PowerPoint, you just write the author's name, comma, the page number, or just the author's name. If it's a website, there's no page numbers at all, right? You just have the author's name again, or some really short thing that refers to them. Okay, if it's PC Tools article on blah, 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 you can just write the word PC Tools, and we all know which thing it refers to. Okay, so I bring this up because students do it a lot, and all it required was that to keep it from being plagiarism. Just because you change two words doesn't mean it's not plagiarism. Okay? It's just not direct plagiarism. It's still you've still stolen their ideas. You just changed two words, and that's still plagiarism. Just don't put the quotes in, and you save yourself a world of hurt. So when you guys are writing papers, or a PowerPoint, or an essay, if you directly referred to something while you were writing, just put that parentheses at the end of the thing. And if she goes, if you ever have a teacher, which you shouldn't, but if you ever did, why is this there? Oh, it's an indirect citation because I was referring to it while I was writing it. Oh, great! Yay, high five! No plagiarism, And honestly, some of them will be confused because so few students give credit when they do that. But I expect you guys to, okay? And that includes on PowerPoints as well. You guys will be doing a lot of projects in this class, and there'll be a lot of times that's all you're going to do. At the bottom of the slide, you're going to put PC Tools, parentheses, because you got the whole, or sometimes there'll be quotes. Okay? And so I bring that up because you're going to be referring to stuff that I have on there on the webpage, which isn't all mine, right? You know, I've got, it says in the things, it says where I got it from. So some of these in the textbook, and I don't want you to do this right now. I want you to go back and start playing catch up, okay? So, but some of the articles on here, it says right up top by Jeff Tyson, okay? And the reason I put that up there, I don't have to quote anything, right? It's straight from How PCs Work by Jeff Tyson. And if you quote something in there, you just put Tyson. In this essay, I'm not requiring an MLA at the bottom. It doesn't say that. I'll specifically say that if I require a works cited at the bottom, because I will on other things, okay? But this one, I just want to make sure you guys, as you're doing this, you get in your head to give credit when you use somebody else's stuff. And I really do think in high school, students think, as did I, that I'll get in trouble for using their stuff. You'll never get in trouble for using their stuff as long as you give them credit for using their stuff. And that is what my first master's paper said. And every paper after that, 25% of the paper was in quote citations. Because that's what they wanted. They wanted, as I'm talking about a book and saying what I think, to bring in what they said so that I'm backing up what I said from somewhere, okay? And so as you go on with advanced writing, they you know, unless it's your doctoral thesis and they know it's all original, they want to actually know that you got that information from somewhere. So if any of these don't refer to where they're from, which I think this one is from Wikipedia, I need to look and see where I got that one from, then you could either just put Moodle on there. You don't have to put my name. Just put Moodle on there if you see something. And I'm going to look and see where I put some of those because I obviously didn't give credit to everybody on those too. Okay, and obviously this one, if you use it from the video, which has nothing to do with this paper, but if it's a YouTube video from me, you can just put hardware. I don't need to see my name. This isn't some self-edification thing. Okay, so you got the idea. The idea that you're doing a summary of that to make sure you've written down and you understand how the boot process works in your words, because you don't have to use these words when you go to there. There's obviously a better way to summarize this into one line, okay, than all the verbiage that's on there. Okay, so you don't have to be as verbose as that. So that's what you guys are going to do the rest of the period today, and it's due for next class. It's not due today. And I'd like you to try to start going through those other things. If you don't have a pair of headsets with you, you can borrow one there, but try to remember to bring headphones to school.
Is there any like word limit on this?
There is none, short or long, either direction. If there is one, I will always tell you the limit one way or another. Obviously that works. So your battery might be dead or bad. What I want you to do is, before you leave class, by the way, I just bought a bunch of new batteries, and I'm starting something that I should have done before in the first place. Is whenever I buy batteries, I'm putting the month and year that battery was purchased, okay? So that you guys know when you pick up a battery, whether it's a new or an old battery. And I'm going to try to cycle all our batteries through this class so that we can test and find out if they last 45 minutes or not, which is why what I'd like, I know there's only 3 of you guys, But if I have batteries, we'll just kind of make this what I'll try to do. If I have batteries sitting right here in this middle, it means they're to be tested by you guys, you three, okay? So when you guys come into class, if you've got a fully charged battery, take it out and set it aside. Don't use a power supply, use mine, turn it on with that one. And if they don't last 45 minutes in class, I'm gonna junk them, okay? So that I have some way of testing them, because there isn't any way. I mean, the tester's supposed to tell me if they're red, and if it's red, I'm just tossing them. I'm pointing to the tester in the closet when I say that. But it doesn't really test. All it does